Hello everyone, Crow here, and this is a video response to a comment I had gotten in my last pickup video. This comment was from JasonRelaxation, and he wanted to know how many systems did I not already have but found at Goodwill. And he actually suggested I do a video on this, and I actually think it's a great idea because I started going through my systems and I had realized, I knew a couple ones that I had picked up from Goodwill that I didn't have before, but there were actually at least one more that I thought, if I go through, I was like, yeah, I did pick that up at Goodwill. First things first, this is what my wife had gotten at Goodwill. This is the only stuff she had picked up at Goodwill that I didn't already have. I mean, we have. If you look at all the Game Boys, there's the original Game Boy, the Game Boy Pocket, which I technically still don't have. I don't have a Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. Now, I had all of those except for the Game Boy Pocket and the Game Boy Color. But my wife had actually bought me quite a few Game Boy Colors. How many, you might ask? Well, you know, this is my bin of them. Every time she found a new color or something like that, she picked them up. Now, she would always buy these because they had, like, oh, this one came with a case, or this one had a game in it, or something like that. But they were always pretty cheap, you know, usually $5 or less. You know, so we have, you know, some of them are the same color here. You know, we got two of them that are this teal color. I think these all work, if I remember correctly. I do believe I've tried. Oh, here's another one. But yeah, I think most of these came from Goodwill. Oh, here's the Tommy Hilfiger one, and then the Pokemon one, and these still might have. I think I might have taken off all the stickers. There's a couple of these translucent ones. So yeah, I got. You know, how many days I said, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and kind of just decorate the room with them, you know, just hang them on the walls, you know. I mean, because I think, yeah, the original DS, and the DS Lite can play Game Boy Color games, and you can play them in the GameCube player. I don't know if the Super Nintendo Super Game Boy can play it or not. I think so. I actually don't know about that. Never really thought about it. I never had one of those until a couple of years ago, and I never really tried it because I prefer using the Game Boy player. But yeah, pretty much, you know, for all intents and purposes, all of these were picked up at Goodwill, and I never had a Game Boy Color. I skipped right from Game Boy to Game Boy Advance because instead of getting Game Boy Color, I had a Game Gear, you know. Now the next thing, this is the very first system that I picked up at Goodwill that I didn't already have, and I think I did actually overpay for this, you know, a little bit. This was way back in 2006 or 2007, and when I saw this was like the first system that I saw that I didn't have, and I kind of been looking for one. So I picked up this Xbox at Goodwill. I paid $50 for it. Nowadays, there's no way I'd pay $50 for it. Although sometimes they do mark these for $50, $60. But when I bought it, I took it home. It worked, sort of. It had one of those crappy DVD drives in it, so I actually bought and replaced the drive in it. This thing works great now. I mean, do I regret it? No. But I did pay $50 for this. Usually, you know, nowadays I look for a better deal than that. But this is in great shape. It didn't come with any games. It came with controllers and hookups, so it was all good there. I also found this at Goodwill. Sega Master System. I didn't have one of these until I found one there. This was actually had the box and two controllers and a game in it. Yeah, I still have the box, but it's buried underneath the house. I'm not going to dig it out right now. I had the manuals and everything for it. They were asking $20. I snatched it up. So, yeah, Sega Master System, another system. Now, this is kind of funny because I was looking for a 32X. Not only did I get the 32X, but they had this all wrapped up together just as it is here. They had all the cables and everything for it. I don't think there were anything. I think there might have been two controllers with this. But yeah, they just had the whole thing like this, $20 wrapped up. I grabbed this. They also had at one point, I wanted to get the, I'm kind of still am looking for like the Model 1 Sega CD. Not a big deal, you know, just kind of keep my eyes peeled. And they happened to have one there. Same deal. It was a Model 1 Genesis, Model 1 Sega CD, and a 32X on top, all wrapped together. And I saw it, and literally a minute after I saw it, a guy had bought it already. And then I was kind of more bummed out to find out the guy who bought it happened to be working at that Goodwill, because I saw him fling out his discount card. And you know what? They are, you know, people at Goodwill that work at Goodwill are allowed to buy stuff at Goodwill, as long as, supposedly the rule is, as long as the product has been on the shelf for a day. Now, I don't know if that Sega CD had been on the shelf for a day, but you know what? I had actually found this like a few days before that, so I wasn't too terribly upset. And lastly, the last thing I had found at Goodwill that I didn't have before, and this is actually a crazy story, is this ColecoVision. Now, now never mind the sticklers that I have on here. The sticklers weren't included. Here's how the story went. I was, we kind of just looked through the electronics section, and then we wound up, you know, I was there with my wife, but I was the one who actually found the system. We wound up digging through some old clothes or something like that, and I happened to find a ColecoVision controller by itself in there. And I was thinking, that's strange. Why is there a ColecoVision controller here? And my wife was saying, well, if they have the controller here, they must have the system around here somewhere too. So she actually passed by where they store the electronics again, and I was kind of passing by too, and they had this big brown box, and I pulled out the box. I was like, here it is. It was there in the box. Not only was it there in the box, but it had 2 more controllers and the roller controller. So that, and it had just the instructions in there, and a handful of games were in there, and also a handful of Atari 2600 games were in there. Now, there was no price on any of this, but on the box, it didn't have a Goodwill sticker. It just had written on the box $20. So it was pretty funny. I threw all the stuff in the box together, took it to the register, and it happened to be the manager checking out people. It was kind of late. They were trying to kick people out of the store because they were closing, and she was looking for the price, and I just pointed to the thing and said, it says $20 on the box. She was like, okay, $20, bring it up. So, yeah, I got my, that was a pretty good deal. At the time, I was looking for a ColecoVision on eBay, and they were going for $60 or more. I don't know if that's what they still go for, but that's not including shipping. Plus, to get the roller controller on top of that. These are all pretty good deals, except for the Xbox. I think I could have got a better deal on that. But yeah, thank you, JasonRelaxation, for asking the question. Give me a reason to put up a video. That's pretty much it. That's everything I've gotten at Goodwill, that system-wise, that I didn't already have. So, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.
So important to make your dreams of happiness come true.
And remember, when you touch yourself, the saints cry. Good night.